Greetings, geeks. Welcome to episode 865 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Takamalda, and I am joined today, of course, in pretend low Earth orbit by Chris DeBona.
Hi.
Rob Roseboom.
Hello.
Gentlemen, nothing interesting has happened in the week since we last streamed. It's been unfortunate that, well, I mean, I guess it's nice that we didn't miss anything.
Sorry. Shouldn't laugh.
It's the only way I can deal with things.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a really sad movie. The first one that I have on the list is The Remarkable Life of Ibelin. This is on Netflix.
Okay.
And it's actually a really kind of heartwarming story. And Rob, especially, I think you're going to have a little bit of nostalgia when you hit this one. It's a kid who was quadriplegic, or he has degenerative muscular stuff. And the story is sort of told. He's died in his late 20s. And his family is all sad because all he ever did was play video games, and had a very low quality of life. And then there's an outpouring from his Warcraft guild, and he was on an RP realm, and Ibelin was his character that he played. And then the movie sort of goes backwards and tells you, but this is the character that he played in his guild. And this is the friendships and the relationships that he built up over that last decade with all these people that his family didn't even know existed. And they get all these letters, and they sort of get they get a new understanding of who their kid was. And the scenes in WoW are animated in a machinima style, although they're not actually rendered in engine. They're rendered by animators, and it's a charming and sweet and really, really sad story. I wish it was paced a little bit better, but it's really fun because you're they're hanging out in Stormwind and they're having conversations in these places that you remember from all these times in WoW. But he's playing on an RP realm, and it's interesting to see how the role-playing elements affected it, and then how his real character was, or how the real person was. It's worth a watch. But especially because
I'm not going to watch it, and I'm going to tell you why. Because we had a funeral for my sister in EverQuest.
Oh.
And I can't watch that, man. I can't redo it. But yeah, it was really moving. And I'd imagine this would be too. So.
Well, I thought it was nice. Yeah. I wish it was a little better. Although. I'm
looking at my screenshots from the EverQuest funeral with my sister, so I'm like, oh man,
Well, this was charming because it was a family really coming to know their child after he was.
That's
gone.
Really sweet, actually.
And the parent in me, there were a lot of things in there that hit the parent in me, and there were a lot of things in there that hit the Warcraft fan in me. So
sure,
it has had a nice little blend. It actually. Was probably a little better than the Superman documentary that came out the last week, the Christopher Reeves documentary, which was...
No, I didn't watch that. Was it good?
Well, Rob saw it too, right?
Yeah, I saw it too. It's fine. I wish it kind of tries to take a note, try to hit a middle ground between overly sentimental and an actual documentary, especially the foundation, the work he did and stuff. I wish they would have decided to lean more into one of those. Mm-hmm. I think it would have been more powerful that way, but all in all, it's fine. There's some interesting stuff in it.
Yeah, I knew that he and Robin Williams were friends, but the movie spends a lot of time kind of talking about that. And I thought that was really neat.
Because it's a hard one to watch and keep a dry face.
Yeah, I definitely cried at one point.
It's a couple parts that are heartbreakingly sad.
Yeah. The caregiver stuff with his wife is pretty tough to watch. We've all had family members who need help. That stuff cuts. And it was I don't know. I liked that one, but my problem I think is that the last 10-15 minutes of it became a little bit too much commercial for the charity. And when something like that is produced with the approval of the family, like that, there's nothing super serious in it. Like they talk a little bit about how there was some abuse, like Christopher Reeve's dad wasn't the nicest of guys and stuff, and like but they don't, like, there's no information really. It's just sort of put out there and said that it's a thing, but it doesn't, so there's not a lot there. And they definitely don't say anything really negative about him. The closest to a negative thing they say about him is that at some point in the 80s, he maybe dated a little bit more. Like, shocking. Celebrity dated. Let's see. Well, we've got Voyager 1. They
Did it reach the heliopause again?
No, this time they had to turn on the S-band antenna in order to get a signal back. But they're just saying that antenna hadn't been on since like 1981. And I was like,
okay.
Once again, talk about the engineering goats. Anybody who had anything to do with Voyager, engineering goat. You did it. Congratulations. So impressive. They turned the thing on. They got a signal back after like a couple of months or a couple of weeks of not having it again. What a crazy thing. I will never not want to think about Voyager.
Yeah.
And eventually I know we're going to lose contact with it. And
it'll be sad though,
it'll be super sad,
Voyager,
but it'll come back. It'll come back to, deal with that whole whale situation. So it'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
No, Voyager had nothing to do with the whale.
Oh.
Voyager was Star Trek 1. Star Trek 4 was, an alien race that was going to destroy the Earth unless they got the whale, right?
That's, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. Unless there was like something that happened in Discovery that I didn't see, or Lower Decks.
They retcon some BS.
Where they retcon
from
some
Lower
BS.
Decks. Hilarious. They changed canon for Lower Decks. That'd be great.
There's a new season.
It'd be so in keeping. I mean, the real question is Skydance? So Skydance took possession of Paramount, right?
Yep.
And that means that the Kelvin timeline, all the timelines are now under the same company.
Yep. So they're going to be able to.
What is Larry Ellison's kid going to do to our Star Trek? Is our question.
They're going to be able to multiverse the shit out of it. Marvel has done such a good job with that. They're just going to be like, well, now it's the multiverse of Star Trek.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. Everybody's going to love it. Let's see. Well, the only other one that I had on the list, which tells you the kind of week that it's been. Guys, I know things have been pretty rough at Intel, but they're bringing back coffee.
Yeah.
They're putting coffee in the break room for everybody at Intel.
Is cream and sugar free too?
That you got to still use the vending machine, or there's a cup you have to put $1 in, or else Blinda comes and like shakes you down. Give me your cream.
I think
money.
One of the things is having paid for coffee is probably more expensive than just providing damn coffee makers.
Yeah, right. Right?
It's like, what the hell?
They are. I know you don't care, Chris, but we were saying just before we started streaming.
I care deeply.
You care about the 9800 X3D and how NVIDIA has just crushed Intel's lattice. What was it? Whatever lake. Whatever lake is the current lake,
or atomic lake.
Can I just say I hate CPU naming conventions so much.
It's and Intel's been doing this for years.
Yeah.
They would have the naming for the server chips. They would have the naming, and that was different from the naming scheme for the consumer chips, and the desktop chips had different naming schemes than the laptop chips for a long time. And then they collapsed them all down to the Ultra 2 Core 209th edition. It's like, what are you doing? Don't make it so hard. Okay.
Right. Put a year on it, put a generation on it, and put a core count.
Yeah.
And give me like the 3-4 numbers that matter, and then just be done with it. Don't make it complicated. I know you want to deceive us. I know you want to make it confusing. I know that you're maximizing your profit in this way, but it's hurtful. And it makes me sad.
Washington State has 7,800 lakes, it turns out. So I guess they're like, well, there's lots of lakes, so we can name it after.
Cool.
Anyway.
But okay, you're gonna buy a CPU, and now you have to remember what lake is the one that has the good decoder for video. Do you know what lake it is or what number it is? You got to look it up to figure out what the oldest chip number is if you just want to be able to run Plex.
Yeah. And it turns out there's one called Hidden Lake. They should just call them all Hidden Lake,
Yeah.
Or Secret Lake.
What's the lake from the Halloween or not Halloween? Friday.
Camp Crystal.
Crystal Lake. Yeah.
Crystal
it should all
Lake,
just be Crystal Lake.
I think they actually did have one named after Crystal Lake.
That'd be pretty great. That should have been. They should retroactively rename the 14th gen Crystal Lake.
You're not wrong.
After all the CPU burnout stuff that was happening, that's Crystal Lake now. Oops, our bad.
Whoopsie daisy.
Well, that was all we had on the zone, but I had 2 movies that I wanted to mention.
No. So I got it all wrong. It's Crystal Well, which is from their DRAM naming scheme.
Oh, good. I'm glad that cleared that right up.
It's so dumb.
Ugh. Last night I watched Kinds of Kindness, which is Yorgos Lanthimos. He did The Favorite and he did Poor Things. He did The Lobster.
And he did something else.
He did a number of. He's done a lot of weird movies. He did a really weird one.
Cocaine Bear?
No, that was Elizabeth Banks, which I think is so weird that she directed Cocaine Bear. That's kind of amazing.
No, he did something that I saw recently, actually.
Poor Things and Kinds of Kindness were his last 2.
No, I never saw Poor Things. It just looked too.
It's awesome.
Not me.
It's awesome, but
I heard it's good. But
yeah, you gotta like weird stuff. But anyway, I was just gonna say, Kinds of Kindness is super weird. It's cool because it's like 3 really messed up short stories with all of the same actors, kind of in different roles. They're thematically linked, maybe, but they're not really connected stories. And it's kind of worth watching. The middle story is really messed up, and the last story is all about a cult, and it's really messed up. And it's worth it. Jesse Plemons is in it, and
he's good.
I like him, and he's like, it's really cool because he's 3 totally different dudes in these 3 different stories, and he's a good actor. If you would have told me.
He's solid, yeah.
In like Breaking Bad, how good of an actor he was going to turn out to be, I was like, oh, that's kind of amazing.
I just remember the nickname they gave him when people would cover Breaking Bad, and it was Meth Damon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I buy it.
Yeah, no, he's a good actor though, for real.
And he's really good in this. And it's just like 3 kind of fucked up short stories, and it's very enjoyable. Now, the one that you have to watch. Both of you have to watch The Substance. I don't want to spoil it. But it's there's a lot of body horror.
Is it like The Stuff?
It is. No. Well, I mean, I guess you could draw some parallels, but this is more like it's a fairy tale kind of. It's a sci-fi horror, body horror thing about. Demi Moore is like the aging aerobics TV star, and she takes the substance, which and they show this in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler, but Margaret Qualley is like her younger, is a version of her younger self, but they have to timeshare. So 1 week as Margaret Qualley, 1 week as Demi Moore. Yeah. But there is so much messed up body horror in this thing. It is bonkers. And then the last 20 minutes go to a place I have never seen. And I don't want to talk too much about it, but
okay.
The opening
I won't force you.
The opening
Are we
thing
forcing
is the opening
Rob?
shot is like they show like the construction of a star on like the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Mm-hmm. And this movie really has a visual thing. And there's really cool prosthetic work, really cool special effects, lots of practical stuff. But the finale, oh my God, it's great. Another one that I saw that reminds me, I saw A Different Man. It's Sebastian Stan, and
Okay.
he plays a dude who's like got like like an elephant man sort of thing on his face. I don't know what that disease is called. I assume there's many diseases that can cause that sort of disfigurement, but
Yeah.
undergoes a procedure that cures him, and then now he's Sebastian Stan, so he's handsome.
Yeah.
But he's an actor, and then he wants to get cast in a play that's based on him before he had the surgery. And but he's not really that good of an actor. And then an actual guy shows up with the actual disease, and it's played by a fellow Pearson, and who actually has the disease. The actor does, and he's charming and charismatic, and like everybody likes him, and he's everything that Sebastian Stan isn't. And it has nothing to do with his face. It's a really fucked up movie, and it gets really meta and kind of wraps in and outside of itself. I would recommend it as well. But The Substance, everybody should watch The Substance. It's bonkers. The last half hour of The Substance, you're just gonna be like, "What the fuck am I watching?" It's so great.
What have you been watching, Rob?
The inside of my eyelids.
A lot of sleep.
A lot
Snoozing.
mostly.
A lot of sleep.
That's a pretty good movie theater.
Although I did watch The Apprentice and the Christopher Reeves documentary.
Yeah.
Mm.
Your description of The Apprentice, I think, is pretty fair. It's just like,
What was your description?
The Apprentice is a weird one because I just don't know what that movie was made for. There are parts in it where it feels like they want to humanize, especially Cohn, but they don't really ever. It's very strange. It's like they just gave the actors the script and then they shot it in 2 days or something. That's kind of the feel I get from it. I don't know what story they're trying to tell. They don't, and it ends in a really weird place.
Yeah.
So,
they don't tell you anything you don't know.
Yeah. It's just everything you know. Here it is played out in front of you.
Yep. He's a super shitty dude.
Yeah, but there's no stakes in it, I guess. It doesn't make you feel anything one way or another.
Yeah, was that Sebastian Stan as well? Who played Trump in that one?
Yeah, Sebastian Stan.
He's everywhere.
He is everywhere. He's hardworking.
Yeah.
He's hardworking.
So I've been watching, so Christina's been learning Italian, right? So there's an Italian show called La Lega di Lidia Poet, which is about the first female lawyer in Italy.
Okay.
It's actually fantastic.
But in Italian.
It's actually really good. So I would check it out. It's been a lot of fun.
I just watched The Godfather 2 days ago, and I'm watching I'm halfway through The Godfather 2 now. I stopped halfway yesterday.
Yeah, you can stop after 2.
No, I'm not going to watch 3. I'm halfway through 2. Those are 3-hour movies. That's a commitment. I'll probably rewatch 3. I've only ever seen 3 once, and that was when I got the Godfather box set in like 2002 or something. I watched all 3 in like one day.
So as you all know, I'm kind of a greaseball, right?
Yeah.
I'm fully Sicilian. And so before Godfather 3 came out, they reran Godfather 2 in the theaters.
Yeah.
And it was when we were in Florida visiting my relatives. So all these Sicilians, we all decided to go see Godfather 2. I was maybe 14,
It's like when the nerds went to see Iron Man.
Yeah, it was very much like the event movie for my family. So we're watching this, and there's a lot of Sicilian in Godfather 2, and they translate it into English, and they're all practically screaming in tears and laughter. And I'm like, it wasn't that funny. And my mom leans over and says, they're not translating it accurately.
I have noticed that about subtitled or closed caption movies here.
Yeah.
Sarah can't see, and what they subtitle, what people are saying is often not what they said at all.
Yeah.
And there's lots of times where it makes a big difference,
It was really cleaned up, and I would later read the actual book and I'm like, oh, okay.
I had the same thing. Another movie I watched this week, I rewatched Akira. And I watched the first half of it in Japanese with English subtitles, and watched the second half of it in the dub, just because that's what I had seen back in the day. And the differences between the subtitles and the dubs is extraordinary.
Yeah.
I think that's just true of a lot of movies. The subtitles and the dubs are based on different writers' work, done independently from each other.
Yeah, but I also think they were dodging the MPAA's rating board.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff about Santino's,
his girth.
way about him. Yes.
Excellent. All right. Do we have anything else we want to get off of our chests before we go about our busy days?
No.
I don't necessarily want to talk about the election, but I will point out that one of my favorite stories this week was the spike in Google searches for "Has Joe Biden dropped out as president?"
Yeah.
Talk about low information voter.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah. I was getting in the neighborhood of 10 texts an hour telling me who to vote for or not to vote for the last week. How could you not know?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Mm-hmm. America. Everything's great. And on that exciting note, goodbye, Rob Roseboom.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Chris DeBona. Oh.
Okay. Now I was just going to say you should go and get your vaccinations while the getting's good.
I got mine last week.
It's my understanding next year it's going to be bear squeezings and leeches. So,
Cool.
instead of a flu shot. So.
It's been a while since I had a good bloodletting.
Yeah,
All right. Bye, Chris DeBona.
Boy, oh boy. Bye.
That was episode 865 of Geeks in Space. I was Rob Commander talking Maldo. I'll see you some other time. Bye-bye.